Hey, this week I made Mikey from Mutant Apocalypse from the 2012 series, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So as my base, I have, he's the one that's the shells open from the 2012 series. I like him, he's a little skinnier and a little smaller than the regular one, so he works better with my slightly larger Raph and then even bigger Leo that I already made. And I glued this shell shut because it does need to open, it's going to be covered. I cut off the end of his bandana. Now I'm sanding with my cordless Dremel there because I want to get rid of any of the bandana lines, because in the episode he's not wearing a bandana, he just has a headband on instead. So that's cool. And then this is like a stone, you do a little finer and then a nail file to finish the sanding off. And for his eyeballs, because he's got some bulging eyeballs in the future, they're little styrofoam balls, and it took me like 3 days to organize them because they just come in one big bag, and there's all different colors as well. And I didn't even finish, I still have a lot that I still didn't sort. Anyway, I finally got some green stuff, which is like a 2-part epoxy, and I've held off on 2-part epoxy because, well, the price generally I see it's like 50 to 60 bucks for 2 like quart containers, and then the way I use it, half of them would go in the garbage. And then I saw this and it was only like 20 bucks, green stuff, and the turtle's green, and this is the OnGreenShow. I thought, yeah, I'm gonna get some of that, and it's perfect for this project. Usually I just use Spackling, but it would be harder to do all this with Spackling, or I don't know what I would have used. But to move on, I have this linen fabric from the dollar store, and I cut off a bunch of the ends because I'm going to use that for his hair later. And then I have the template that I drew out and I cut out there. And these are some bags that I also got from the dollar store, and they just have like a cool design that looks like it would go great on the poncho to make him look like the reference from the episode. So I'm using, it's tacky glue it's called, and I'm gluing down that piece, and yeah, let that dry, cut it out as I get this ready. But yeah, I always forget what I was saying, and I gotta talk about what's going on, but you don't really care. I cut out the neck hole, and he's happy about it. Now I move on. He's got this like shaman staff, so that's a bamboo skewer, and I cut off the end, the tip, and glued that down. Now to stain it, I'm going to use brown shoe polish. I like using it because it stains it quickly, it dries fast, and it has the brush already on it, so that's cool. I'm going to use that piece of fabric as like the flag, so I'm just dirtying it up with the extra shoe polish on the staff. And I glue down an extra piece in the middle on his poncho, and I painted it while it was still, before I cut it, so that I had somewhere to hold it. And then I cut it, I glue it, it's just like a metal ring, it's like a piece of a rivet I think, as one of the loops that he has around. Then I use just an aluminum pipe to cut out 3 2mm foam circles, and I put X's on those so I can slide them onto the top of the pole. And now I trim up the flag thing that he has on there, glue that on with some super glue, and add the top. And I don't want it to fly around too much, that'll give it some more stability. That's what it looks like in the show. Now I bring out my friend Spackling to just fill in all the cracks and any little gap between where the green stuff and the actual toy meet. And there was another reason other than price that I never tried the epoxy putty, that I had forgotten until after I bought it and read the instructions. And it's 24-hour dry time, where Spackling only takes 20 minutes, and then I can sand it and paint it. And this is a piece of the linen fabric I had folded in half and glued together. It's going to be for the bandana, but now I give this guy a quick sand with my nail file everywhere where there's spackling. And his elbow pads there, they don't have grooves in it, so that's why I filled that in. And I don't even think he's wearing knee pads, but I filled in his knee pads to match his elbow pads, because why not? Now I move on. I have a Vallejo white primer with a little bit of just regular white acrylic, and he's got some white stuff that I'm painting white. His wristbands and his feet bands, wraps. And I didn't do a great job on the feet because I'm going to dirty them up later. Then just some orange paint for his headband and some hockey tape to add some little straps of fabric. Then I painted one side orange, and I'd been thinking earlier in the day I should look at the reference before I paint anything orange, and I painted the wrong side, wrong hand wristband orange, so the other one's supposed to be orange. Then I dry brush a little bit of white on the foam on his staff to make it look cooler and more realistic and less like foam. And so those are his wristbands. Now I'm covering all that with a matte varnish by Liquitex. It's acrylic matte varnish, so it works on acrylics and plastic and anywhere I need it, anywhere. And I have some burnt umber now. I'm paint the pads, then dry brush a little on there while the pads dry, and then paint the pads again. I think I gave them like 4 coats because it's got to cover up that white, and just go back and forth. But now I use a hunter green to make the white match the green of the green stuff, and then I kind of dry brush, but trying to get in all the little details and grooves with that hunter green on the rest of his skin. And then now, the eyes, this is the hard part. I try to make nice little circles in his eyes with the pointiest paintbrush I could find. I did alright. Now I move on to a leaf green that I'm going to cover all the dark green with to make him match his body with his face complexion a little better, because that would have been really weird if he just had a dark green alien head and the rest of him Ninja Turtle. He is also wearing some tighty whities. You'll see them if you watch the episode, but I didn't find any pictures with it. That's not the worst thing, I guess. But I used the hockey stick tape to do that because it already looks like it's made of fabric. So, it is made of fabric. It's a fabric tape. And I paint some orange around it, and then I go to yellow because it's like a dark orangey yellow band on his underwear in the episode. And I dry brush some yellow on his face to bring out a little more details and accent it more. Then I dry brush some green over that because it was a little too yellow for me. Now I give him some freckles with the hunter green. That's cool. It makes them look more like in the episode. So I just give a whole bunch all over the place. Well, mostly on here and here where I remember him having them from the last time I looked at the pictures. Then another quick clear coat on everywhere that I just painted to get it ready for the next step. That's what he looked like before. Now I have a 0.6 marker, and I'm coloring in his mouth, and I did my best to do little dots in the eyeball, and I left a spot that I'm using a toothpick and some red paint to do his tongue. And then I'm dry brushing a little bit of the leaf green over the freckles to make them look more natural and less like I just put dark green dots. Again, before and after. Now it's just a black wash, black acrylic and water to do his feet. And that's why I left some of the brown showing and wasn't super concerned. Now I bring out my brown shoe polish again to give a little color and age to his underwear band and some of his wrist pieces and chest shell. And now I trim this up a little more, see how it fits. And now the fun part, the hair part. I'm putting the little piece of linen that I had cut. I cut two little pieces for his eyebrows, and I'm using that same tacky craft glue to glue it down to his skull, because it's a nice clear glue, so you'll still see the green underneath the glue in the places that don't have hair. And then a piece of the rope that was in the bag that I cut for his shirt, I use as the ponytail part of his hair. And then I am doing a gray wash, and I meant to do this before I put on the headband, but I forgot. So then the linen threads just soaked up the gray, so that worked out fine. And this is what it looks like. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until next time, always keep your head up. Peace.